Now, I was just having a discussion with my students inside of the Period Time Publishing program about paid ads, and I thought, why not extend on that and make a little bit of a video for the wider community? So, at the end of the day, guys, there's a few reasons. Just let me adjust that. There's a few reasons why you might run paid ads on your books. We're really two, right? The first reason is that you've just launched a book to the market and you want to get you want to get touch points out in the market, and you want to see if the book is viable. You want to see if it has market acceptance. So a really quick way to do this is actually run ads against it, and you can, with a very small budget, determine whether that particular book is going to get market acceptance and have any value to the market at all. It also, on like as a secondary nature to this, it also can create sort of like the snowball effect. So you might get a few sales on this book through your advertising, and once it has market exposure, you can turn the ads off, and your book will rank better, right? Because you've proven viability of market acceptance, and Amazon loves relevance and viability, right? So if Amazon sees sales on a book, it is going to want to rank it for you for the 7 keywords that you have in your keyword slots, or key phrases, keywords, whatever it may be there, um, as well as variations of these keywords, as well as keywords that you're not even targeting, because Amazon will reward you. Their systems are specifically built for this, right? They will reward you if your book shows even small consistent sales. They'll reward you for ranking for the keywords you're actually targeting. They'll rank you for keywords that you're not targeting. They'll rank you for more keywords that are attached to your ad groups that you aren't initially targeting inside your book, even when you turn your ads off. So this is a very, I guess, it's a very good strategy to determine whether your book has market viability, and also to kickstart your title into the marketplace and out into the market segment that you're going after. So that works for most strategies, right? That will work if you've had a ghostwritten book. That will work if you have low and no content books. A lot harder with low and no content, because it's the same thing. Even with ads, guys, you're up against immense competition, but it's still probably the only way, to be honest, to truly have low and no content books that really get any sort of market dominance. With public domain, though, however, paid ads do work, but not in that sense, right? For me anyway, and in my experience. And this is a conversation I was sort of having with my students. Um, I never really suggest with public domain books to create a book, put it into the market, and then run ads on it immediately. Because although that book already has market viability, market acceptance, I guess, market acceptance on the manuscript anyway, right? You've created your own cover. On the content of the manuscript, I should really niche that down a little bit. So you've created your own cover, you've done your own editing in the manuscript, you've got your own description structure, your own, not really your own title, but a similar title or subtitle. You're going after your own unique keywords, right? Your book itself doesn't really have market acceptance yet, right? But the author does. The title does. And this is huge. We piggyback on this for our market acceptance. We ensure that our cover, our title, our description is all A1 on point, so our book does get accepted into the market, because it's already 90% of the way there. There's just that last 10% factor that we need to make sure that it gets found and that people actually like what they see, right? So public domain also, it revolves around two things, right? Quality of product and quantity of product, right? And quantity is more especially important in the beginning. So when you first start out publishing public domain, you sort of do want to publish like a fair amount of books. And it's the same for anything, guys. Don't get this wrong. If you're in the ghostwriting space, you're not going to publish one book and become extremely wealthy and free from your 9 to 5. It's not going to happen. You might need to do 10, 20, 30, maybe even 40. That's on the higher scale, because you are actually doing active marketing with ghostwriting. So you don't need to do as many, right? In low and no content, heaps. You have to do a lot of books, and you need to run ads on almost all of them, okay, if you want to succeed in that space. With public domain, though, our competition is so low, it's nothing like low and no content books. So we can publish a good pool of books into the market, and then we can look at the data, the viability of the specific books that actually make sales, right? So we're looking at the sales data specifically. If the book doesn't sell, forget about it. Just forget about it. Forget about that author, forget about that genre, forget about everything to do with that book, and focus on what's actually selling. And from this point, guys, we can essentially just publish into the data, right? Make sure that we do more of what's working and less of what's not. That's it at the end of the day. Where ads come into it with public domain is when you have a book that has proven market viability, proven sales onto that title, then you can run ads on that book and scale it. So we don't necessarily need to run ads to prove viability, right? We've got 90% viability. We just need to ensure that our process is on point, right? Always, again, within law and policy, guys. You have to be sure about that. You make a mistake with that, and you will become one of those horror stories that people talk about with public domain. Do not make a mistake with the law and policy. So yeah, so essentially you have that book, you have these books in the market, and it's the 80-20 rule, right? So 20% of those books will make 80% of those sales. And those 20%, you need to just forget about the 80% that aren't making sales. Focus intently on that 20% and publish more into the data. Figure out why these are selling, publish more of them, right? It's common sense at the end of the day. And then you can take that pool of books, that 20%, that you could grow to 30, 40, 50% if you publish into the data the right way. You'll be publishing less books that don't work at this stage and more books that do, because you're looking at your data, right? You can take those books and you can look at your top #1 gun sellers, and you can look at, our books aren't extremely seasonal. Most of the time they sell all year round, but some are, right? The Christmas Carol, for example, right, is a book that's seasonal. And you can take those books and you can look at your top gun sellers and you can run ads on them, right? And now, guys, I want to actually, look, before I get into this part, you can also take public domain books and you can run ads on them immediately if you're looking for data, right? If you want to get to the bottom of, will this book be in the 20% that sell, or will they be in the 80% that don't sell really fast? You can run ads on them immediately. But that's really the only reason you would do it. And I don't think it's a real viable reason to do it, actually, because your data will organically tell you this anyway without having to spend money over time. But you can find that data out a lot quicker. I don't believe there's a real reason to want to find that out real quick, much quicker, right? But that is possible. All right, so let's move over to this spreadsheet that I want to show you guys, and it's essentially an ad spreadsheet. All right, so this is a keyword metadata research spreadsheet when it comes to creating advertisements with Amazon. Now, the first thing I want to point out here, guys, is this column, number of keywords. You will notice as I scroll down, there's 300, right? This is a big mistake that a lot of people make when they try to run ads on books. They choose 5, 6 highly targeted keywords and they think that that's going to get all their sales because it's highly targeted, and that's the way to go about it. It's not, right? You need to go extremely broad in the beginning. So you need to have essentially multiple ad groups. So you can see these other columns, right? And each ad group needs to have at least 300 keywords targeted towards it. And each one of these ad groups becomes a single ad for that one single title on its own. We never run ads, like we never run in one ad group multiple books, ever. So you have one book, one ad group, one ad, right? And then each ad group has about 300 keywords. And so let's have a look at this. So here's our original keywords. We might put in like our 7 keyword slots just to draw some inspiration from. And then we have our descriptive keywords. So keywords related to the actual title. That's why we have title information here, guys. We want to see keywords that are related loosely and strongly to the title. 300 of them in here. related titles. So other books that are actually related to your title, you can use as keywords, right? Especially if they're um, highly known and a lot of people are searching for them. So you want to put those in there. And this becomes an ad group. This becomes an ad group. Related authors. So other authors that are in the same niche as you or as your book that are, like have a lot of market acceptance and everybody knows them. So you want to run an ad group on that, right? And then going over here, these could be, so these are sub niches. So for example, right, if you have a fairy tale book, but there's a little bit of darkness in it, so you might have a sub niche of dark fantasy, and you want to have all 300 keywords related to dark fantasy. It could be, it could have a couple like children's stories as well. So you want to have a whole sub niche related to children's books, and so on and so forth. And you want to have, I think it's at least, if we go through, at least 7 of these, right? And then we have general and other, like ones that didn't really fit into these. And if you've got enough of these, you might be able to even discover a new sub niche, right? And then just some notes. But guys, why am I showing you all this? Because people run ads wrong at the end of the day, right? So what you want to understand here is, especially when it comes to books, you need to have multiple ad groups in multiple sub niches related to your title, right? Loosely and strongly related to your title. You need to target at least 300 keywords for each of these sub niches to give them a chance to really marinate in the Amazon platform and figure out what's actually working. And you don't just publish these ads out and stop there. Not at all. What you need to do is publish them out and then watch what happens. Watch the data. Look at what keywords are actually getting you sales. Look at what keywords are getting engagement on your titles and double down on them. Get rid of some of the other ones and even figure out new niches from the keywords that are actually working really well and create a whole new ad group on those niches. It's a complete ongoing process. And that's why in my program, I don't really teach ads, because we are organic. Like, we literally, this program revolves around building freedom lifestyle. And if you're consistently running ads, watching that data, creating new sub niches, figuring out different budgets and things like that, this is not passive, right? So there is a possibility you can run ads with public domain books, and it's usually on a title that has massive market viability through the form of sales, right? And if you want to do that, I usually do that, right? But only sometimes, and I'll only do it on books that are really, really proven, and I'll only do it periodically. So I don't want to consistently have to monitor ads. Instead, what I do is, if I want to boost my income for a specific month for whatever reason it may be, I'll run ads on my top selling books, right? And then I would just get a big influx of cash and I'll reinvest it into something else, or whatever it may be, whatever reason I needed that influx for. Obviously, with public domain books, you could always run ads if you wanted to build a team, and there's always the process of innovation that can happen, right? If you wanted to build a team and have them run ads for you and do all of this stuff so you still have that freedom business and that freedom lifestyle, absolutely, right? Absolutely, you could do that. But anyway, guys, I just wanted to jump on here today and just explain a little bit about ads to people with Amazon, because I truly believe, well, I don't just believe, I see people running ads wrong all the time in all of the different Facebook groups saying, look, I've got 10 keywords and my ads aren't working. I'm running one ad group, but I've got multiple books in that ad group. And it's like, you're never going to get anywhere like that. You're never going to get anywhere like that. The best way, in my opinion, right, is for public domain anyway, is to go organic, completely organic, be patient with your business, get to that few $1,000s a month in passive income, have a look at your organic sellers, and then decide, hey, do I want to just keep building this organic machine to a point where I can just pretty much retire, or do I want to run some ads and just boost that income for the short term, and then I can still build the organic machine on the back end, which is also another good strategy. And in that way I have, a fair bit of upfront capital coming in, and I also have the long-term vision over here, where my organic machine is coming into play.